Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing 3 cards using the new stamp set from My Favorite Things called the Tutu Trio. And I'm going to be using the apartment die set from Waffle Flower and also just a basic stitched rectangle die set. And I'm going to be creating like a little dance studio. So I've already pre-cut and colored all of my little images, which I will have that up on the blog. And then I just took a standard A2 size card base and scored it so it's top folding. I cut out the window portion of the dance studio with the smaller of the 2 dies that I have in my hand right there. And then I cut out 3 of what would be the window frame that I'm going to glue together and stack. These are the curtains from the apartment die set, and the awning and 3 of the little, I guess I would call them like the base for the building. The paper that I'm going to use is that Tickled Pink by CC Designs. And I cut out, I wanted like a wallpaper looking behind the window, so I cut out a panel using one of the stitched rectangle dies for the interior. And I'm just going to attach that to the inside so that you can see it right through the window, as if you were looking inside of a studio. The outside of the building, I also, if you see it, what I really would have liked is brick, but I don't have anything brick, so I made my own wood, but just scoring. I think it's like a half inch all the way down. Now I'm just going to glue my 3 pieces of the window frame together because I wanted to give it just a little bit of dimension and some stability. The curtains that I cut, I'm just going to cut them in half. You're not going to be able to see that because of the awning that goes over the window. So I just cut one set, cut it in half, and I'm just attaching it to either side of the inside window. Then I'm going to attach the window frame, and I'm using Nuvo Deluxe adhesive because it gives me just a little bit of time in case something doesn't line up. I still have time to shift it and move it. So I think that's probably your best bet. Tape doesn't give you any time to move it. In the Waffle Flower apartment die set, it came with window frames, which I just showed you, and they were not what I wanted for a studio window. I wanted a great big picture window, so that's why I used my stitch rectangle dies instead of the window that comes in the apartment builder. And now I'm just going to adhere my awning to the top. I thought I wanted to put that on there to hold it down, but I didn't want to squish it, so I changed my mind. And now we're just going to figure out our pieces, and we're going to start gluing them in. And I'm just going to use glue on the little flowers and put them on the bottom just to give it a little bit of interest down there. And then probably just going to pop up. Yeah, I pop up the larger flower from the die set. But that is just to give it a little something on the bottom so it's not so plain. And then I'm just going to glue in my little characters. These guys are like wearing little tutus, so it's like they're dancing in the little studio. And I'm just gluing them at the bottom where their feet are, just so that they kind of stay in the window. And now I'm going to pop up my sentiment, which also came from that same stamp set. And this is a birthday card for my best friend's daughter, and of course she takes dance lessons. So this is perfect for her. And now I'm just positioning where it's going to go so that you can't see it through the window. Sorry about my big head in the way. We just moved my studio camera around, so I'm trying to get used to where I can be and not be in the middle of the shot. And now I'm just going to put the last couple little pieces on there, my little butterfly, my little flower, and then that pretty much completes card number 1. I will have all the supplies and the Copic numbers too, and they'll be on my blog, which will be linked at the bottom. So for card number 2, I'm just taking, these are Elizabeth Craft square dies, and I'm just going to do, I've never done this before, but I wanted to make my own background because it seems to be everybody's doing watercoloring backgrounds right now, so I wanted to try it out. And it's not my favorite technique, Maybe if I practice it a little more, but basically I just took some of the Distress ink. I sprayed it on watercolor. This is the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor paper. And then I just was never happy with it because the paper kind of bubbles up. It kept moving off of where I wanted it to be, and then I wasn't patient enough to keep it down. So I don't know, it's not my favorite technique, but the paper, it actually really did come out cute. And then since I couldn't get it to go where I wanted it to go, I just decided to use my water brush pen and kind of scribble it in different spots on the paper so that I would get the pink where I wanted it and the purple where I wanted it. And then I wanted to do like some splattering. So then I just started splattering it all over the paper. And it actually did turn out really cool, but it wasn't, like I said, it's not my favorite. I might give it another go with some different mediums. But now I put that aside to dry and flatten out. I stuck a really heavy box on top of it to try to flatten it out as much as possible. And now I'm just going to get out my little critters again. Same thing, still using the Tutu Trio. And I used the square dies as kind of like diamonds and just cut them out in somewhat of an even pattern on the front. Popped up that watercolor paper piece. And now I'm going to use my strong adhesive glue to glue them down. I thought about the tape for a second, then realized I wasn't going to be able to slide it around inside if I put the tape there. So I'll use the glue, get them centered in there. I love the little dots around them. That's why instead of just going directly on the white paper, I put them back in there so that you have that. I have that little detail around the edges. I'm just going to pop up my little characters and put them inside the little diamond shapes. This set is so stinking cute. I could come up with like 10 more cards just with these guys. And taking your die sets and using them kind of in a different way than what everybody normally does with them is just the fun of playing with your supplies. So all I have left to do now is to put my sentiment on the top and attach my little flowers. And then we will be moving on to card number 3. I'm going to pop up that sentiment and glue down my flowers. And then this last card is my favorite. I just think it came out so stinking cute, and it's even more adorable in person. But here is card number 2, and this one is card number 3. And for this card, I used my slider die from the Art Impressions, one of their slider die kits. Some stitched rectangle die for the card base, and I've already attached everything. So the slider piece, I fiddled around with it forever, ended up finally just using the alphabet dies that you saw, and I put the word wish on there, took some doodlebug hearts and kind of put it around, put the word pull on the bottom. I already cut out the slider piece in some circles because this is how it's gonna kind of go together, just to give you an idea of what I'm gonna do with it. So I'm gonna just make the slider portion of it, and that's how that's gonna go. But I feel like the easiest way to do this is to attach just one side of your die. So I'm gonna put some score tape on one side only. The tape's a tiny bit bigger than the slider. But that way you can open the slider up and you can put whatever you're going to put underneath it. So once I realized that's white and the card base is white, so why am I going to put another layer? I ditched that idea and just started putting my little ballerinas inside of the slider portion. So I'm just going to adhere them on the inside. And then just fiddle with this for a second. That slider piece, just so you know, if you have this die, it's a little bit less than 2 inches wide. Now I'm gonna figure out where my little circle pieces are gonna go. For all 3 cards, I used pretty much all the same supplies, the same paper, the same colors. The only thing I changed up on this card from the other ones is I used some MFT, I think that's grout gray card base. So I'm just going to adhere my little circles to the paper, and then we're going to finish attaching the slider portion. So there's a big head in the way again. And I would use some strong adhesive for this slider piece, just so that it doesn't come up when somebody's trying to pull down the little tab at the bottom. So I'm just going to put that and adhere it down. This is so stinking cute. And I was trying to figure out what else I wanted to put in there, and the little doodlebug hearts were the perfect size, just to kind of stick them around inside. So I put 3 of them, and then there it is. Now we're just going to finish decorating the outside and put some flowers and my sentiment on the outside of the card. Some of them I pop up, most of them are flat. And then again, the sentiment is, I use the Nouveau, what do they call that? It's embossing, embossing pad, the Nouveau clear embossing pad. And then I just got some of that Wow embossing powder. So that's what I used to do all my sentiments. And I forgot to use the little anti-static pad on it, so you can see kind of in some spots where I got a little bit of that powder. But it's okay. It's handmade. People forgive me. So there's the happy birthday Tutu you. I'm gonna put the little flower and the heart on it, and there is card number 3, which we are gonna attach to the base first, and then I will play with the slider a little more because I can't help it, and that will complete my card number 3. Like I said, all the supplies will be listed on my blog, all the colors that I used for the Copics, and even some of the products that I used in case you're interested. Thank you very much, guys, for stopping by and watching my videos. And if you like them, subscribe, thumbs up. I really, really do appreciate it. And your comments are loved. I hope you guys have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next time.